Hello, welcome to the Ensemble Experience, a podcast series by the Choral Arts Society of Washington, where choir members turn the spotlights on each other. Each episode brings two voices together to share personal stories, memorable moments, and the history they created within our choir. Discover the bonds and experiences that make our choral community unique. And this is their Ensemble Experience.
Katie Warren. I'm one of the many Katies in the choir. Um, and I have been here. This is only my second season. So I joined on Belshazzar last season and yeah, joined the whirlwind of choral arts
Oh, wow.
from that moment on. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay, great.
I'm,
Well,
I'm very new.
yeah, that's great. Well, and by contrast, I'm Bonnie Williams. I've been in the chorus since the year 2000.
Oh my goodness,
So,
that's amazing.
yeah, now in my 25th year, I've just am so thrilled to continue to be a part of it. I love it. Anyway,
Y2K joining. That's pretty cool. I
yeah,
wonder if that influenced your choices at all.
I had sung with another group for 12 years, and it was a jazz octet. And that
That's
group,
cool.
after one concert, we lost 5 members. So we were down to 3. And for
Mhm.
5 years, we just kinda hoped that we would find 5 new members, and we never did. And finally, I was like, "This is nuts. I wanna sing." And I had a friend who was on the board of the Choral Arts Society, so I'd heard about it, but I hadn't been to any of its concerts. And I don't even remember if I went to a concert. I think I just tried out. And, um and I got in and I called my friend who's on the board, and he just couldn't believe it. He just couldn't believe it. It was like, "What, do you think I'm just a schlocky singer?" Yeah, it's kind of funny. But, you know, I was thinking, I have gotten to go to England, France, Italy, China, Argentina, and Brazil because of the chorus. I've gotten to go to
Y'all
all.
went to Brazil? That's so cool. I didn't know that. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So, it was
Wow.
very cool.
That's
Um,
awesome.
all
Yeah.
right. Well, I wondered, I'm looking at the questions for all members. Um,
Yeah, yeah, sure.
like, how do you prepare for a performance and what routines or rituals help you get ready? I just didn't have any
This is going
routines or
to
rituals.
this is going to reveal some things, I think. Yeah, I was like, "Ooh, that question." I mean, truthfully, if I'm doing things optimally, I would definitely be, like, well rested and super well hydrated before getting to a performance. Um, the reality is that right now in my life, I have essentially, like, 3 different jobs. So, chorus is just the thing that I, like, refuse to give up no matter what. Like, there are things being added to my plate, but I will not give up choir. So, if I can, and if it's like a really good like I think that this last Christmas I did family concert with the Oh Night Divine, and they were back to back. And I was like, I don't know what I was thinking. That was a little crazy. But for like the MLK one, for instance, I felt far more rested, was very well hydrated. And then I usually don't have like a final run through unless there's something that feels like a really sticky point. But that's pretty much it. It's not like per se a ritual as much as like a goal before I
Ye
get to a performance.
Yeah. I know, I don't think I have any rituals at all. I just try to learn the music, you know?
Right, right. Like, I know it or I don't, and, if there's something that's freaking me out, maybe I run through that, but other than that,
Yeah, yeah. Um,
so
well, so okay, so why is it so important for you? Why do you refuse to give up singing with the chorus when you have 3 jobs and your life is crazy and you keep adding more things?
yeah, yeah. Um, I thought about this question a lot because like, there's a lot of things that I could say, but I think for me, choir is the continuity from, like, my young life, like, young Katie to adult Katie,
Mm,
because I've had kind of a wild ride where, like, I started out, um, you know, very, like, subculture America. I grew up in Brazil, actually, and lived there until I was 17 with my missionary parents. And around 18, I kind of left this very like niche subculture of American Christianity. I actually do call it culty vibes. That's definitely where I was.
Uh-huh.
But I left that and like kind of moved through to like a different just different stage in my life. And it's like now been like 15 years. But singing in groups and in choruses is one of those things that I did when I was young, and I did in that community, and I do now. So I think that's part of it, is like it's like this through line of how I get involved in music, and stay connected with community. Because, you know, I don't know if you know anything about like particular, as I say, subcultures of the US, but I think being really tight knit in a community is something that you can feel like you lose when you move out of something like that. And so chorus is like a way to kind of retain some of that in my life. Yeah.
I that's really interesting, and that you grew up in Brazil, with
Hmm.
missionary parents, and that must have been really interesting. So you probably
Yeah,
speak Portuguese.
I do. I do. Yes. Yes.
You could be a Portuguese consultant when we sing in Portuguese, of course.
We have two other Brazilian ladies in the choir who I think probably would be better at it because I left when I was 17. So I definitely have like the 17-year-old vocabulary. um, but I could definitely help with pronunciation. So
Well,
yeah.
that is very, very cool and very interesting, and I hear you about the community, being a part of a community, and I think that's immensely important to, I don't know, most of the chorus, if not all of the chorus. Um, I was in the chorus for 9/11, and we came
Mm,
together. I believe that our concert was the first thing that happened in the Kennedy Center after 9/11. And
wow.
there were, I think, I wanna say the president and the vice president were there. I'm pretty sure they were. Uh, but it was just so important that music can speak when everything else fails, you
Yeah.
know? Was so empowering and important. And, yeah, I just feel like if I didn't, there would be a gaping hole in my life if I didn't have the Choral Arts Society, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's so, yeah.
Um, well, let's see. Uh, uh, what does being a part of this chorus mean to you personally? I was thinking about that and I thought, I'm really proud to be in this chorus. And I'm proud to be with it through thick and thin
Yeah.
because, we had the Norman years, and I was here with Norman for a long time, and then the Scott Tucker years, which were also just wonderful, different and wonderful. And I loved that there was this overlap, that Scott and Norman had a couple of years where they got together a lot, and all the history and all the culture of the Choral Arts Society could be transferred, and that I guess I am very aware of um, how strong the organization is and how good the staff is.
Mm.
And
That's
and
really cool to hear as like somebody who's new to the choir, because I think when you join, it does feel like, especially in DC, because there's so many choirs, like you're just kind of throwing a dart and being like, well, maybe this one.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's really like encouraging to hear that that there's this like backbone of this
Yeah,
choir that's really strong.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And just the very high standards that we have. I mean, I think we had a couple years there where we were a little bit rudderless, and now I feel like Marie is really cracking the whip in a great way and getting us back. And I just
Yes.
I just love it.
Yeah.
Um,
That's awesome.
yeah. One of the questions I thought was really interesting is, how do you see yourself contributing to the choir's future, and what role do you hope to play? And I don't know. I mean, we're in it because we love to sing,
Yeah.
but I mean, I can tell you what I was thinking about that.
Yeah. What were you thinking?
Well, because I've been in the chorus for such a long time, I feel like there are like four things that
Okay. You.
I can. First of all, I can pull my weight as a singer. I can be sure my singing is good, that I know the music that I'm contributing to keep the standard high. And then I can help as volunteering. I do the chair duty reminders and I stay afterwards to just get everything back in order. And it's really fun. I get to meet everyone that way. It's just fun. And then you know, getting people to come to concerts. I think the chorus doesn't realize how important it is for us to do that. It's really, really important. We are
Yeah.
the salespeople. We really are. And so like every time we have a concert, I just go through my contact list and I just send something to like 80 people. And it's not the same people each time. It's people I know will come or I know are interested or have come in the past. But then it's just a bunch of people. I have no idea if they'll
Yeah.
be interested or not. But it's like, you know what? Why not? Why not?
Yeah.
So I think, we can all do that. And then, we can also donate financially, which of course, they always need that. So I realized, oh my gosh, there are 4 ways to contribute to the chorus to help it.
Yeah,
So
that's a really good, like, little elevator pitch of, like, this is what you should be doing as a choral member. Um, yeah, I definitely went down, like, a philosophical route. I was like, "What would I contribute personally?" And I think for me, it's always been I think it's just like every group that I'm part of. I think if you grow up overseas and then you grow up in, like, a specific world and then you move out of it, you have a sense of how humans behave in all contexts, no
mhm,
matter what group they're part of. We repeat the same patterns. And so I feel like I'm not ever surprised when I'm like, oh, people here do the same thing that they did in that group over there. So I think there's like a sense of perspective that I can bring there. But I don't know, I always say like I'm a little bit of a third culture kid, but also just like noticing when people feel a little outside of the group is a thing that I can usually bring no matter what group I'm a part of. Because I can like kind of pinpoint when somebody feels different than everybody else. So yeah, I think those are two specific things that I was like, maybe I could bring that as I stay on. So yeah,
that's great because I do think, especially brand new people, they, unless somebody reaches out and talks to them, they don't necessarily feel like they're warmly welcomed.
yeah,
It's so easy to just talk to anybody. That's another thing I love about the course. You can talk to anybody. And on these various trips that we've taken, you have to get on a lot of buses and trains and planes.
yeah.
And I always feel like I can talk to anybody in this group. Everybody is friendly. I like everybody. You know, I mean, maybe not everybody would say that, but
No, I can attest, Bonnie, that you're one of the people that like I immediately felt I could just talk to and were incredibly warm. And I this is not passing judgment on any of the introverts in the choir who might just be like a little tired, right?
yeah,
But I have felt that there's everybody is willing to engage. And I've been in a choir before where it felt that there were more cliques. Um, you know, as in any group that you're a part of. But overall, I've been impressed that the majority of the people in this choir seem just ready to engage and that there's really a lot of thought in how to get people connected. Even going so far as having somebody like Karen who does these like programmatic versions of like, let's meet up on a first Tuesday and things like that. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
there's a good feeling, and you're right. They work at it. It's not by
It's
accident.
intentional. It's intentional. And you can tell. So I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I so can I ask you a couple questions
sure.
because there's some things up here in the like for longtime members, which says 50 plus years, but I think 25 should count. Um I was 50 plus years. What does that mean?
Wow. I mean, there are a few, but there aren't very many.
There aren't many. I was like, "Huh, I need to know. I'm glad
Mhm.
we'll have pins so we can see who those people are.
Oh,
Because
right.
I also have questions for them. Um All right. So there's a question here that I thought was really cool. Okay, so I was curious. You've been here now for 25 years. So how has your role within the choir changed over the time that you've been here? Like you could think of like the arc
I
that
think I've seen so many new people, a lot younger than me, come in and look around and like just maybe not be as we were just talking, not be smiling or not be talking to anybody. And I feel like as an old timer, I can go up to I can welcome them, I can say hi, I can, explain to them the picky line, just be very welcoming. So I think
Yeah.
I can feel that at first, but now I definitely feel like that. Like that's something I can do. And all the people who have been here and know a lot of people in the chorus, they should be doing that. And we can introduce new people to others.
Yeah.
Um, just be welcoming. So that
Yeah.
my role has changed, I think. I mean, when I first joined the chorus, I was shocked at how high the musical standard was, and that
Yeah.
we're not gonna learn the music in the rehearsal. You have to learn the music on your own.
Yeah.
I'd never experienced that before, and I was just kinda shocked, and sometimes I was really horrified. Like, I remember we were, doing we were rehearsing for Beethoven's Ninth, and we were at the Kennedy Center, so it must have been a dress rehearsal, and it was late. It was like 10:30. And, that fourth movement of Beethoven's Ninth it's very loud and it's very high for every part, apparently.
Yes. Yeah.
And just singing it over and over and over again. And finally, and I was new in the chorus, finally, I just blurted out, "Our voices are really tired." And
Good for you,
I
Bonnie. I appreciate you being like, everybody, just take a beat.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I got my head bitten off. It was
Did
like,
you really?
"Oh, yeah." That's the last time I ever complained about anything. So,
Oh,
uh,
well.
yeah. So I learned early that, if you wanna be part of this group, there's a standard
Yeah.
and, just don't complain, just do it, just learn it, you know? Figure out
Yeah.
what you can do and do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Would you say there's like any particular like that you gleaned over time? Like even the story that you just told, I could imagine if you kind of ridden the waves of different leadership that now you can essentially be like buffeted by various change storms and be like, but this is how we operate. This is how we respond. I'm curious if there's anything like that that you can think of that you're like, that's something that,
I mean,
yeah.
now, she uses different techniques that
Hmm.
that I don't know, and
Oh, really? Oh, that's cool.
I've never had music theory. When she says, the key of E flat, I don't really know what that means.
Oh, I love that. I love
Uh,
that.
and I have a little pocket guide in my folder of all my chorus stuff that's just like terminology. At this point, I mean, I know a lot of it, but every now and then there will be a word. It's like, I don't know what that is. And
Yeah.
I look it up. And I noticed Marie and Shannon use some words that I haven't seen before. I have to tell you one really funny story.
Please do.
Um, with Norman, he was we were in a rehearsal and he was really mad at us. And and he shouted in plain English, diminuendo.
You're like, but
Yeah, exactly English, but to him, it was English.
yeah, yeah.
It
That's
was the
really
yeah, I love
yeah.
that.
He's like, what? You guys don't know? This is just like the words we know.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
There was a whole when Norman retired, there was a book called The Book of Norman. And it was just all the funny, interesting, clever things he said that everybody could remember because we all would write these things in our music. I remember writing in my music, "Sing this like a cloud."
You're like, okay, how?
Yeah, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was a
that's
lot of
funny.
fun. Yeah, yeah.
That's
So,
funny.
I guess I'm more appreciative of all the things I have to learn. I'm not, I used to be maybe a little resentful, like, well, how am I supposed to know that? And now
Yeah.
I'm not resentful anymore. I'm just like, oh my gosh, that's something I could learn, and a lot of people already know it. We have a lot of music teachers, and we have people who, sing professionally. Well, maybe
Yeah.
not many professional singers, but sing in their churches and are soloists and things. And I feel like I'm kind of at the bottom of the barrel as far as serious music education. I've had voice lessons in college, but that was a long time ago. And so I like soaking up everything
Yeah.
that is being shared with us.
I think that is like, for me, one of the coolest things about group music of any type, whether it be a band or like a high school orchestra. But I think choir in particular is one because if if you're if you enjoy singing, you know what happens to yourself if you're like suddenly put in front of a group of people and like all of a sudden everything that you thought you could do with your voice is gone. And I feel like there's something really cool about choir where it's the I can rely on other people a little bit. Um, if I mess it up, it's not the end of the world. I'm not completely spotlighted. I obviously want to, be a good teammate, but on the other end, like, oh, I just didn't have that high A today, and it did not happen. And I think that there's like a lot of beauty and a lot of bravery that comes from that of just like you over time are gleaning these things and you actually take risks that you normally wouldn't because you've got a community of people supporting you. I think that's really cool. Also,
Yeah.
as much as you said that you started off like you're at the bottom of the musical knowledge, there's no way that after 25 years you're at the bottom. Just because like I remember when I first joined a chorus generally, and actually I will say that when I joined last year, I joined on Belshazzar,
Mhm.
which I hadn't been singing for a couple of years, and I do remember having, during those first practices, a moment of like, "What have I just done to myself?" Because, that was a rude awakening of both I hadn't been, like, conditioning my voice in the same way that I normally would with singing in a chorus, and then just, like, learning your part and the notes because that was such a beast, and we had such a short time to learn it. So, I just remember thinking, like, "I'm completely overwhelmed. I don't remember how to do any of this. I don't know if I've made the right choice."
Uh-huh.
So, anyways, just speaking to, like, as much as, I think you probably gleaned a lot over those, like, 25 years, and you know a lot more, so, um,
That's
I
totally
can ask you
totally
questions. I'd be like, "I don't know what that means. What do they mean?"
well, getting back to I was just thinking about the community sense and something really, really interesting that happened. We sang a piece called Harmonium by John Adams, and it was something he wrote in the 1980s when he was really a young composer. And it was just like counting it was impossible. It was a long piece and it was gradually getting faster, very gradually getting faster, and it had a lot of repetition in it, and the only way that we could stay together was to, have our finger on the point where we were in the music and notice the fingers of the people around us who were also that's how we did it. And I remember, I mean, at the time, of course,
Yeah.
it was extremely frustrating and very, very irritating. And John Adams was adorable because at the first rehearsal with him, we sang this in New York, he apologized for how hard this was to because of the counting of it. And
I
he
appreciate that.
yeah.
Yeah, if you're gonna ask people to do this, you should know how hard it is.
Yeah.
That's so
And he
funny.
was very, very sweet. I mean, after,
Aw.
filed off stage, he kissed everyone or hugged us or shook our hands or, he was
Aw.
very, very warm and sweet. But oh my gosh. I mean, when he first stepped on stage, it was like everybody was armed with their rotten tomatoes and he just assuaged that nicely.
Aw. That's lovely. That's
But I think
lovely.
that was an example of how we really had to work together. We really had to rely on ourselves to
Mhm.
figure it out, and we did. And
Yeah.
looking back on it, I think that was kinda cool.
That is really cool. That's really, yeah, that's very rewarding. to be like, we did that. That was hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm curious if you have a particular like concert. So you mentioned the 9/11 concert, but I'm curious if there's one, um, if you can pick one that stands out in your mind as like one of the most, I don't know, it could be the most exciting or most interesting or like just the most unique
Yeah.
concerts that you've ever been. Like, what are the ones that you kind of that come to mind that you're like, I can't believe I did that?
Well, Mahler's
Oh,
Eighth Symphony is just, it's my favorite thing in the world.
yeah.
If it's ever on the radio, I just crank it up, and we have a CD of it, and I've listened to it a million times, so much that now it's got skips in it. And I think the first time we sang that, or the first time I sang that, the very ending is just this huge organ solo, and I remember just, like, sobbing and my shoulders, like, heaving up and down because
Yeah.
like, it's got into my core. It was so powerful, and it was so
Yeah.
beautiful, and, I just don't understand how anyone doesn't absolutely love Mahler's Eighth.
I had to
Mm.
sing Mahler's Eighth a couple of years ago.
Oh,
I
see, and you're saying "had to." So
I
it's
w
usually
I
my
did love
favorite.
it. I do love it. I'm not going to, but I do remember thinking like it was one of those where it's like, wow, like it was really really hard.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's partly because I'm kind of like you. I took voice lessons, but I never really like studied music
Mm.
at school, and so I think there's just an intimidation factor with some of this music where I'm just like, yeah, it's a lot. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
really cool though. Yeah.
Well, now you're still pretty new in the chorus, but do you have advice that you would
Do
give
I
to
have
people?
advice?
Yeah. I mean, I guess
Oh
I
my goodness.
I could think of advice too, but what would be your advice?
Ah, yeah, I don't know, Bonnie. I think you might have stumped me on this question. I don't know that I have grand advice other than, you know, maybe it's the advice that I give any group of people, which is uh to to be curious and to listen first. I think we make a any group of people that you're with, there's like assumptions that we make about
Mm,
each other. And I think that I've learned over time because one of my day jobs is that I build teams in different
mhm.
software companies and I like get them to work together. And I think at the beginning of with any group of people, there's just like this foundational distrust because you don't know each other.
Uh,
And so I think that that would be, the only advice I give probably
mm,
to all of us, especially because even for the folks who've been there for a long time, you get a new crowd. And I'm sure, as is human nature, you look at these people joining and like, what is with these, like, you know, these whippersnappers? I don't know. I'm coming up with something like,
yeah,
well, they don't know.
yeah,
And like, oh, they've got all these new ideas. Why are they changing things? But I think it's that like building community and trust with each other. It takes time. And so just allowing for that. And then being open-hearted and curious when people have, specifically things maybe that are not always positives to bring forward, like having a curiosity instead of like a defensive attitude. So,
yeah.
yeah.
That's really good because I think you're right. People come into a group and think, okay, there are people here I'm going to like and people I'm not going to like, and people come with um, baggage that you just don't need at all.
Yeah.
Enjoy it and appreciate it. I guess
Yeah.
that would be my advice. Enjoy everybody, get to know people. This is a great bunch of people. We're united around something that requires all of us really listening to each other and want
Yeah.
to sound really great. So listening to each other, I mean, that's rather metaphorical, really. You know,
Mhm.
it's being in a way we're part of each other's lives,
Yeah.
and uh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. A lot of people don't have anything like that.
Yeah.
So,
No, I
anyway,
do. I love that. Yeah, we're forced to listen to each other, in a world where, like, people very rarely do. So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I love that.
Mm. Well, let's see. I mean,
Hmm.
we've been on
I
the
don't know if
phone.
I have any more
Yeah.
questions for you, Bonnie. I'm gonna say like there's probably more that we could talk about, but I was going to like end on like if you had any advice for us, but it seems like you already given it. Unless there's anything that you have something. What would you say to two
Mm.
season in person? What would you say to two season in Bonnie? Maybe we can reframe that question.
Um,
Um,
I would say don't. I would say be more patient and work harder. That's what I would
okay.
say. Like work at this. That this is not necessarily easy. This
Yeah.
this is a big commitment. Being part of this group is a big commitment, and
Yeah.
just step up and do the work and don't whine.
Yeah.
I'm saying
Stop whining.
my
I like that.
2 self. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Well, I
this is
think that's a good way to end, honestly.
yeah.
I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Ensemble Experience. We hoped you enjoyed hearing these incredible stories from our choir members. Now, we'd love for you to experience the magic in person. Join us for our upcoming concert on June 15th at the Kennedy Center Concert Hall. As a special thank you for listening, use promo code POD20 for 20% off your tickets. Please visit choralarts.org/tickets to reserve your seat today. Again, that promo code is POD20, POD20. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you at the concert.